everybody, and welcome to another live. Thanks for joining us tonight. I got some fun special guests here tonight, but we'll do all the dirty work, I guess, first. So I'm going to just tell you guys about all the shows that are going to be coming up as people filter in. We'll let you guys have a chance to filter in here and get your notifications. So the next show after tonight is the 28th of April, which is our 1 year anniversary show. Can't believe it's been a year. Yeah.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Couple special guests popping on. No spoilers yet. And then after that, on the 12th, I actually have Coloring the True Sight Oracle. So it's a brand new Oracle deck. It was a Kickstarter. It's a black and white deck based on Dungeons and Dragons. And so I'm actually going to go through, and I have permanent markers. I'm going to go through and color it and make it my own, so nobody else's will be the same.
Oh, super cool.
Interesting.
So bring your crafty stuff and come hang out for an hour with me while I do that. We'll maybe have a chat and all that fun stuff. And then on the 26th of May, so you guys may have noticed that I kind of rearranged some of the shows, but on the 26th, I'm going to have a show on sound healing. So nice. I have a new friend who's a sound healing practitioner, and she's going to be coming on and talking about sound healing. So
very cool.
Super exciting. Yeah. So let's say a quick hello, and then we'll have our guests introduce themselves. I think everybody in the chat, at least for the moment, knows who you guys are. But for those watching the replay, we'll have you just introduce yourselves. But Annie Bear is here. She says, hello, Kaylee. Hello. Oh, and Tanys. And Jen.
Hello.
And I did star your question there, Annie Bear, so we'll get to that in a moment. Living in Radiance is also here. Hello, Mother.
Hey, Catherine.
Hanging out with us tonight. Don't know if my sister's watching too. She's home for the week, but
nice.
Hello if you are. All right. I don't know who wants to go first, but why don't you lovely ladies introduce yourselves?
Go for it.
I am Tanys Coughlan from the Twillo Lifestyle Community, Twillo Lifestyle Academy. And I do stuff.
She does.
I do all sorts of stuff. We do.
That's how we roll. We do stuff.
So intuitive energy healer, channel, Galactic Ambassador, Celtic Shamanic High Priestess.
Mentor.
What's that?
I said mentor.
Mentor. Thank you. And so I do stuff. Metaphysical stuff and galactic stuff, healing stuff. Yeah.
Stuff. So much stuffs.
Jen and I do similar stuff. Although Jen does different. It's half the same and half different. Because I'm also an HR consultant.
Yeah, and that's not my stuff.
That's not her stuff. She does the psychotherapy thing instead.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... Yeah, Jen from My Holistic Self and Twillo Lifestyle Academy. And my stuff is on the energy side of it. We do very similar kinds of stuff. But then in the regular 9 to 5er, which I still do that stuff. So I can't even say that anymore. But I'm a registered psychotherapist, certified Canadian counselor, intuitive life coach. And that's kind of my jam. My jammy jam.
This is my 9 to 5. It's just not 9 to 5.
Well, and that's it. I can't even say it like that anymore. So it's a little bit of all the stuffs all wrapped up together.
We are entrepreneurs, and so entrepreneurs were at it all the time. Yeah.
Yes, and we're also, obviously we're here to talk about the Galactics, so that's also part of our stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, we're both Galactic Ambassadors.
So if you guys have any Galactic questions, feel free to post them in the comments. I've been starring them. So if you do have any specific questions, we will get to those if we can. But let's see. We did have our first question. Or do we want to talk about maybe just I know Tanys, I've had you on shows before and you've kind of explained how you kind of got into all the Galactic-y, is that even a word? Stuff. Do you guys want to maybe talk about how you kind of got into it? I got into it because of YouTube, but
Yeah, they came and asked me if I was ready, and I said yes. And next thing I knew, I was a Galactic Ambassador for the Federation, and then I ended up getting in touch with I was put in touch with the Vice President of the Alliance for Extraterrestrial Diplomatic Contact, and we're working behind the scenes at the UN to create change to the Geneva Convention, and we have $50 million to build an embassy. So we're working with different countries right now to find nonpartisan land to be able to build the embassy, because it has to belong to whoever the embassy is for. Right. And so we will be caretakers, I guess, of the embassy until we have open contact. And yeah, so I've been with them now for 3 years, and Jen joined us a little while ago. So I've been a Galactic Ambassador with them as well. So I'm a Galactic Ambassador with the Federation and a Galactic Ambassador here on Earth as well. So that's the short version.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jen and I have done this whole Galactic Federation thing before.
Yes. Yes, we have.
Why don't you tell them about our history that way?
Yeah. So this is in the up and coming. We're not quite there yet. Still in editing. I know I keep talking about this silly book. I say silly. It's not silly. This beautiful book that has come through. And it really has been visions and memories. It started as dreams that were coming through that unfolded this entire life that we had quite a long time ago.
Yes.
And it was during the Orion Wars, during the Great Galactic Wars, where the Draconians were wreaking some havoc in the universe or multiverse. And we ended up through that actually forming the Federation. And so that is all in the story. And so you'll get to read all about that. And I have the actual original codex that came through for that, the Galactic Codex. That was the foundational kind of guidelines for the Federation and all of that. So that's all going to be in there. And then the stories of like how that came to be and how that unfolded is all in there. So
super cool.
It was quite a lifetime. It was quite a lifetime. Yeah. And Jen and I have done many, many lifetimes together. So it's the one that they've really brought forward for us lately. So it seems to be one that there is a lot of pertinence, I guess you could say, to present. So yeah.
Yeah, I think
that's why we're talking about it.
Yeah. Because even I think just like within our kind of group, like we're all in Ottawa, for those that aren't in the know of that, but we all live in the same kind of area. But even just amongst the people that are all in our kind of known group, there's connections within connections within connections that are, as you said, so prevalent or so for right, like everything's just coming up right now.
Why do we cultivate soft voices? Are you afraid to speak out?
You want to clarify there, Annie?
Yeah, I'm not cultivating a soft voice. That's just who I am. Oh, believe me, I can yell. I'm not going to do it on here, but I can.
I don't think it's necessary on this one.
No.
Well, we did have a couple of questions. So Annie did have another question earlier. So I don't know if we maybe want to get into those to start with, and then we'll see where things go.
Sure. And the Hathor thing, that's more your...
Yeah. So we were looking at that and we discussed that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so it's interesting, right? Because the Hathor race is, well, technically it's considered to be an extraterrestrial race, fourth dimensional beings, and they're supposed to be connected to Hathor from Egyptian lore and teachings and all of that, right? And so we know that the extraterrestrial races have a huge impact on our development and growth throughout the different human race developments over time, right? So we can look at Lemuria, we can look at Atlantis, we can look at Egypt, and we know that the different races were involved in helping the development of technologies and spiritual teachings and all of that kind of stuff. And so the Hathors as a race, they're I don't know, they're said to have come through the Sirius star portal, and that they have connections with Venus. So there is some energy kind of connection there, but it's interesting, and it makes sense that they're connected with Hathor, because Hathor, as an Egyptian goddess, right, her energy, she's the one who is like shown as with a bit of like the cow head, but she can come as that form, or she's actually been said to also come in the form of Sekhmet. So depending on your belief system and the way that that kind of unfolds around the ancient Egyptian gods and goddesses, because there's different kind of schools of thought around how all of that happened, and who's what and all of that. But really, when you think about her, right, she's the goddess of love, of fertility, of joy. And so you think about that in terms of Sekhmet and her energy, right, which is that kind of balance between destruction and rebirth. And so that energy, when we look at it in terms of the love energy, right, that's meant to come through, we recognize that things sometimes have to break down in order for us to grow and evolve and develop all of that. And so those energies are brought forth in that way. And so people who connect with the Hathor energy often talk about their their ability to kind of bring back joy and reground us and connect us. So if that's an energy that's coming through for you, I would recommend taking some time to kind of read into it and understand how they're being connected to some of the ancient Egyptian teachings, because that's going to help a lot in terms of what energies you want to bring forth with that, and how you want to connect.
Well, and I think we talked too about maybe even doing a show specifically on them, so we can go into a bit more depth. So keep your ears and eyes open for that.
Oh, yeah, that would have to be its whole own thing.
Yeah.
So there was just a quick question, and then she had another question there about the book.
Interesting info I found in this book. None of this is true.
I haven't read it. I don't know what that is, so I can't speak to it.
And then she had also mentioned something about, I also read the Pleiades as a college of higher learning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would modify that slightly. I think that the Pleiades is, there is a college of higher learning there, and definitely, many races attend it.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say that the whole Pleiades is a college of higher learning. Definitely a lot of higher vibrational beings there that are full of love.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a beautiful race to work with. I have guides and history and all sorts of stuff with the Pleiades. And so that's where a lot of my healing stuff comes from. And so I would say, yeah, there is a lot of higher learning that happens there, but I'm not sure I would call the whole cluster a college of higher learning. So that's kind of my feeling on it anyway.
Yeah. Just going back really quick to what Anna was saying about, like, that's what's mentioned in the book. I don't know what the book talked about or what it's mentioning. I do know that there's a lot of people who talk about all of this stuff with all of the races and everything else, that it's just things that are being made up, that it's just lore, it's just mythology, it's just this or that. So honestly, it depends on what you believe, right? And that's what it's going to come down to. So is it something, is this Hathor race something that was just made up in the, in recent years, or is it something that is connected to Egypt? Like, unless we can remember a lifetime that connects it or something like that, we really don't know. And I think that that's the case with, with us. My memory of being a Lyran is my foundation for my understanding of that, right? Just like yours with the Pleiades and other people we know with their lifetimes, right? Those are our foundations for knowing. Beyond that, it's about what we choose to believe.
You fought crystals and plants?
Or brought. Maybe brought.
Brought crystals and plants would...
I think that would make more sense with the little hearts around the
Yeah.
side.
Brought, not fought. Okay, good. Phew. I don't think I've ever fought with a plant before.
I mean, there's those Venus flytraps and stuff.
Energies of different things. But.
Yeah. So the triangular ship, I would say that, that for me, that resonates with Arcturian energy. Being created Arcturian and Pleiadian. I'm a hybrid. So often, for me, it's like, what I've been told is that I'm a hybrid Pleiadian and angelic energy in my soul energy is what I've been told. So that's, all that energy that we pick up over the lifetimes, it all goes together.
It's all good. We figured it out.
All good. So for me, I my feeling on that, how do you feel about that triangular ship, Jen? I kind of feel Arcturian with it, but that's my intuition for it. So
I would say the same. I kind of picture the Arcturians as very just like mathematical, very like straight line triangular, I guess. I don't know. That would have been my kind of guess as well.
Because the Pleiadian ships that I've been on, they're Federation ships, really, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of them are Federation ships. And they've got Pleiadians and Arcturians and all the other races mixed in because you've got flight school and
UN
all that.
ships,
They
basically.
go. Yeah. Well, the Galactic Federation is it's similar to the Galactic UN, right? It's a way for all galactic races to come to some understanding. So, and have those codex things.
Because you're so awesome. You're all discussing this. Thank you.
Oh, yay.
Leah did have a question too. I don't know if you're comfortable answering it, but she says, may I ask what star race is going to or is already upgrading me? Thank you kindly. I don't know if you're comfortable answering that, but
yeah, I felt Arcturian as soon as I read it, actually. I think they're doing some work on you right now, Leah. Might even be as we speak, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you feel any hands or fingers?
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling they're working on the upper neck. Does that resonate with you?
God.
Yeah, like the mouth
I was
of
going to say, you've got another channeler in our midst.
Perhaps.
So, I was just trying to think.
I'm just to Leah's comment too. The more that you get to know and allow yourself to kind of feel into the different energies of the different races, you'll begin to realize, oh, this race feels like this. And that race feels like that. And so when those upgrades are happening, when those downloads are coming in, if you're able to kind of go, okay, what does this feel like for me? How does this show up for me? Then you're going to be able to notice, okay, is this, is this energy or that energy? Because a question like, are they blue? Some are. So are other races. So
that's what I was going to say. Some are. My particular Arcturian guide is not. He's like tanned skin sort of thing, like cocoa colored skin. That's mine. But I know that there are some blue. There are all different colors, right? Just like Pleiadians as well. My two Pleiadian guides, one of them is blue. One of them is almost like a teal green color. So they're all different.
Much like humans, you can have a combination.
Of course. Yeah. You can even have different body types and stuff within races, right? Because they've had a lot of intermingling over the years. So
yeah, well, you think about it, right? I mean, there's certain races that have been there, right? Like the Antarians were there for a long time. The Draconians were there for a long time. When the Lyrans came in and came into corporeal form, they came in with a certain race features. But then because of seeding different planets and light, everything evolved into different ways. And so you think about the different planets that, they ended up living on or stuff like that. And it changed, skin color, it changed features. we have the Lyrans that are the feline version. That's what my previous life was in the book. Then we have the Lyrans who were, with the golden skin, right? We have the different features all in the Lyran system. So we've got the Vegas, we've got the Avians, we've got the Betas, we've got so there's so many different races that are all intermingled. And then we've got all the hybrids.
Exactly.
That are a mix of all of them. So it's pretty incredible to notice and so to just kind of go, oh, they're this, so they must be that. It doesn't.
It's just our human liking boxes.
It is. It's our brain liking boxes. Right?
Ned was just saying she loves the mantises.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Incredibly intelligent beings.
Yeah.
So.
And then Annie just says, I look forward to knowing more and remembering more. Guess we all will just any minute now.
Yeah, I'm still hearing they're coming in a big way, in a more open way in 2027. So we'll see. At least that's
right.
What? Hey, I mean, some of them are, right? Like Avatar, man. Like that was not just made up. Those are visions.
Exactly.
Well, I think Tanys, you've told the story, but if you want to maybe short recap it, you've talked about like how going and seeing that movie, like stirred some feelings for you, or even some memories for you.
It did. It's very much like my Pleiadian home planet, and I went there and near the end, there was something that triggered me within it, which was the whale scene, if you guys know the movie. But then it just snowballed for me. I think it had been building through the whole movie. And then I just was like crying, and I couldn't stop crying like all the way home. It was the other end of the city, so it was like a half-hour drive. And I like cried all the way home. I just want to go home. And my husband's were like, we are going home. I said, no, home. I want to go home. And it was the Pleiades that I was longing for when I was
I think that's the big thing for me, especially watching the first one, like the plants and stuff like that, because I'm like, I've seen them there too. That's the weird thing, is that you almost have this deja vu.
And Avatar 1 was the first 3D movie I saw. And I saw the plants, and I wasn't even really aware at that time about my galactic history, but I had a super huge reaction. It was like this excitement that came up in me. And I really didn't know why at that time. I was just like, because it was 3D, right? So you're seeing it like, it was amazing.
The biggest thing for me with all the galactic stuff is I never asked for it. It was never something I was like, oh yeah, I feel super strongly about this. But then just through working through other past life stuff, they started cropping up. And I'm like, okay, now this or this in my life, this lifetime, I'm like, it makes so much sense now. So it's just really funny. So, those of you that are maybe wanting that connection, don't force it, just allow it. Be open to it, and you'll find those connections.
Yeah. And, I didn't, if you had asked me like 10 years ago, would I be a Galactic Ambassador? I would have been like, what? So much has happened in the last 10 years. So much remembering. So, yeah.
Well, and it's incredible too, right? Like I remember being little, and I was fascinated with the stars. I loved being able to look up and see them. I remember going on a trip with some friends, and we went to the Poconos, and we were out in like the middle of nowhere. And I think that is probably the best sky I have ever seen. Like you could see galaxies in that sky, and just laying there and going, there is so much more. But having no idea at that point what it was. And definitely not thinking that I'd be talking about my past lives.
Exactly.
In the stars. Like that was not,
Exactly. And, just for the record, I mean, Jen and I often will be like, are we going crazy? But we have way too many people that have real visceral reactions,
Mhm.
right? Including us. Like I read Jen's book and I sobbed through the whole thing.
Mhm.
That's not normal for a regular novel. You know what I mean? So I when your body just tells you, it just knows these things.
Yeah.
And for me, that's how it's been. It's been very physical through the whole process of getting to know my galactic side.
Well, and I think that's such a huge piece. Sorry, Kaylee.
No, go ahead.
Just okay, because for me, writing it, like having all of this information come through and going, okay, I'm just told to write it, so I'm writing it.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of thinking like, am I just making this stuff up? Like, what is going on? And then having confirmation after confirmation from other people and going, yep, that resonates. Yep. And I'm like,
and like so many people,
full body tingles. Like, okay.
So many people have cried when we've talked about it. Though, like it's so bizarre because there's so many people that have recently just come in to our lives.
Yeah.
I mean, we say our lives because often a lot of them have come on Twillo Talk, and so they've come into our lives through Twillo Talk, and we'll be talking to them backstage after or something, and they'll just start to cry when we're talking about the book. So they're having this deep physical body knowing that they were there in that time. So it's it's fascinating. Yeah, it's fascinating.
I know you've got a lot of comments that you're trying to get out.
I was just a couple more people have popped in here. So just take a break for 2 seconds here. So Diana popped in. Hello, Diana.
Hey.
And Troublemaker, Mr.
Hey,
Gerald.
Hey, Gerald. Hope your show was good.
Mm-hmm.
And then just back a little bit, Leia had just mentioned that she was told her star family is Blue Avian.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Beautiful
And
race.
then Annie had asked about, do you know of super tall ones? My understanding is they're all kind of taller, but they kind of
they're all taller
to, not scare us so much.
Oh no, they're huge.
No, they're big. They're big. It's our filters that make them look small. Yeah. It's not always them.
Yeah.
Making themselves small.
Yeah.
So. I do like what Leia said. Oh, we're just talking about monster thinking. Fear feeds the negativity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But on the height thing, all of the races were definitely taller, but there were some that were more tall than others. Right? Like we know that the Manta beings, the Antares, they're very, very tall. The Draconians are absolutely massive in height. Females are taller than the males. Like they're beings. And then there's, some of the Nordic races. So we have another friend who has a
Yeti.
A Yeti, yeah. Very large beings. And
white Yeti, though. A white Yeti, like an Arctic style Yeti.
Yeah. And then there's, the ones that we, see like the that are just very tall and slim and all of that. And so like there's just a lot of different races. And I admittedly have no height comparison chart as of yet. It hasn't been given to me.
It hasn't come through yet.
Come on, guys, help us
out. There's a lot of talk about the tall whites, and maybe that's what Annie Bear is referring to, is the tall whites. Yeah. So
she was saying she read that chromosomes affect height.
Mm-hmm. I would think, yeah.
But I mean, extraterrestrial DNA is probably a little bit different than ours. Do you guys know?
Yeah, it's more the crystalline DNA. Like right now we've been carbon based for the most part. I mean,
we
that's
have crystal in us. Like
we do.
We are also, right?
And that's changing, right? Because we do have crystalline within. It's kind of shifting right now during this change. So that shift is going to be, so we're going to be closer to like an NET DNA structure.
And he was saying too, she visioned decades ago about animals' home planets, being that they're high vibrational beings.
Mm. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nice.
like the blue avians, like right from
Yeah.
Avalon, and the cats,
Yeah.
maybe from Avalon with me in the Lyran sector. So
Yeah.
We were talking about this remembrance thing. So for me, it kind of came out of nowhere. Actually, you guys, I think we're doing a show, and you were talking at the time about the Lemurian quartz.
Oh, yes.
And I just had this body reaction that I was like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. She's basically holding up this crystal, and I'm flinching away from it. I've never seen this crystal before in my life. And so you're like, oh, maybe you're just feeling, this hasn't been cleared in a while. Maybe that's why. So you cleared it and held it up again. Same reaction. And then I think there was a show a couple days later with Dr. Lisa, and she held one up, and I had the same reaction. And it ended up being that it had there was a connection to a lifetime on Lemuria. And then since then, all of the galactic stuff kind of has come forward, which is just, it's just, if you didn't do all this kind of energy woo-woo work, you were, as you said, you kind of think you're going a little bit crazy having all these reactions and stuff like that. But you gotta listen to your body, and
there's way more to our world than what we know of in our standard teaching and all of that, right? So once we start to step into that. Yeah, this is a Lemurian calcite, by the way. That's why I was holding that up. Was related to that. So beautiful. She's got a blue Lemurian heart crystal.
Oh, nice. Well, and the connection to Mount Shasta, I've heard it come up a couple of times. I don't know much about it.
Yeah. Well, and Dr. Lisa Thompson, who we've had on before on Twilio Talk, and
Galactic Ab.
And Galactic Ab, and she's in Hawaii, and she talks about the energy there and the remnant energy of Lemuria and how it's still felt. And I think even other people that we know that are in Hawaii, like Jonathan has talked about it and mentioned it in chat and stuff like that. And so, knowing that energy is still there.
Well, to Annie Bear's point, like the indigenous people know, there's that remembering. It's even just the vocal, like the story traditions, or you talk about Egyptian, and you have pictures of their gods and stuff like that with either bird heads or cat heads, and it really makes you wonder. Or you see some of these other petroglyphs and stuff like that. Yeah, like that's a recorded history.
It is.
And then if you start looking at some of the ET races, you're like, Well,
that's one of the schools of thought, right? Is that the gods were not what we would
sentient beings. They were extraterrestrial beings.
They weren't like omnipresent beings, like a god, kind of like the all, like one, right? They were more ET beings, right? And they could fly because they had ships and they had technology, and so people on Earth felt that was godlike, that they could do that, and they became figureheads. So that's one school of thought with all of that.
Apparently, I've been to Mount Shasta.
Apparently, you have.
I've also been to Hawaii, but that's a different topic.
Very nice.
Yeah. Well, isn't Mount Shasta in California and Hawaii? I thought that was in that area. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, those of you in the States, where's Mount Shasta? Because I don't know my.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was because Lisa's in Hawaii, right?
So, Lisa's there. So.
Yeah. At one point, I think somebody asked about the book. It's not actually out yet.
Oh yeah, Annie Bear asked about the name of
it. But it will be, hopefully.
Mount Shasta's in California. Yeah, that's what I.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah. I think there's it's in California, and I think parts of that. Well, I know parts of Lemuria are also Hawaii.
Yeah.
So
that lower west coast.
Yeah.
Kind of area.
Yep.
So good.
Well,
it's interesting. The guides keep telling me I'm supposed to write the second book to the series for Jen. I've gotten bits and pieces, but not the whole thing yet. So we'll see how that comes in.
There you go. Yes.
Yes, most definitely. Most
Yeah.
Like,
definitely.
subscribe, and we'll keep you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's we'll let you know as soon as it's up and running. So if you're on Twillo Talk on Mondays with us, which you have been,
Mhm.
the moment it's ready, I will be letting y'all know.
We say launch party. Let's do it.
We'll do that. We will do that
Definitely do a launch party for sure. Yeah. I think we might have to have a launch party with some of the other people that we know are
Mm.
in the book and have everybody.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be an
That'd be
interesting
fun.
round table too. Once the book is out and people have had a chance to read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not out yet. Not yet.
It's not out yet. So
Yeah, it is
She's-
named. It is
Yeah.
named. It's called Starlit Paths, and mine is the Lyran Legacy, and Tanys will be doing the Pleiadian Legacy, and maybe Gerald could do a one if he so desired, under
Okay,
duress,
Gerald.
of course. And
yes, it is on my list of my to-do
When
list.
she has
Yeah.
time.
I gotta say though, it's one of those things that when they decided it was time for it to
Yes.
happen, it just happened. Like
Yeah.
I could not stop, and as much as I wanted to go to bed, I wanted to I could not pull myself away when they're just putting so much information through,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I had to get it out of me by writing it down.
So I don't know if anybody can see stuff, but like right now they're like, because we're talking about this, like I'm getting, yeah. So apparently I'm getting some downloads at the moment. So we shall see.
Yeah.
Right,
I have to write a class first.
Mm.
Yeah. That's the other piece that's coming through. So
Right.
spoiler alert here, but I actually have, so those of you who if you've ever watched the Laugh and Learns that I do with Gerald on human design, you'll know that on my website you can get a free reading. You get an astrology reading, you can get your human design reading, and you can just go ahead and put everything in there and off you go to the races with a ton of info. One of the things that came through was an entire starseed reading.
Ooh.
And so I'm in the process of getting that done. And so that will hopefully come out in relation to the book. So
Nice.
that you can not only read about all of that, you can also get the other, it's technically a whole other book that has all of the different markers in your star chart for where, some of, and I say some of only because star chart markers are great, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's all there is. So if you don't have any, it doesn't mean that you're not connected, right?
Right.
So I also go through all of the races and all of the traits that you can look for to see where you're connected and all of that. So yeah.
You're hearing it here first, guys.
Yeah, you are hearing it. Yes, and I'm talking about but
And Gerald says you're talking about it. He's not.
yeah.
I can tell you're not, Gerald, because my throat I'm having to clear it. Just saying.
Because like, who's needing to clear the throat chakra?
I think it's Gerald. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But
Yeah, it's a journey with the Galactics. I mean, so we talked a little bit about praying mantis and height, that when they came to see me, they were like 8 feet tall.
I don't think that's right, Gerald.
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
in your chart or not, you be there.
Yep.
I'd know that energy anywhere, man.
Sorry, honey.
Well, actually, on Twillo Talk earlier, a couple hours earlier, we were talking about like having constellations on you, but the freckles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I always found that so interesting. You're like, oh, that's a weird, I don't know how well you'd be able to see it, but like on my hand, I've always joked that like those are freckles, but it's like perfect symmetry.
Mm-hmm.
And
Is
then
it this side?
inside your face, yeah.
Is it that side that I have it? I don't know if you probably won't see it in
No,
the,
too far away.
can't see it too far away. But I have a constellation here, and then I have the Big Dipper down my arm as well.
So when you're standing in front of the mirror naked tonight, guys, look for constellations.
Look at the constellations.
And notice
You might be a starseed. Actually, I think if you're here watching the show tonight, you're probably a starseed.
You're probably a starseed.
Yeah.
Well, and have you found that? Because I know, Jen, you mentioned earlier, like having that fascination with like space and planets and stuff like that. I definitely think that's a big part of it. Just
Thank you.
yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
And any
Thank you.
Yay.
And do Jen say too? I think I put everything down in the description below there for both of you.
Yeah, she said something about Jen's, I think.
I think.
Yeah. You can also, if you're interested, you can subscribe. Jen and I do readings, and we put them in the membership area of the Twilla Lifestyle community.
It's free.
It's free to join. So if you want to get a monthly reading, we do them there. And there's all sorts of other kind of resources that we add to periodically. And so, yeah, great to have you there.
Oh, so do you guys have, I know this is like choosing favorites, but do you have like certain maybe ET races that you would say would be like a favorite or that you're most interested in?
Well, I think probably our core races
Yeah.
would
I don't know
be.
if I'd say favorite, but
I know favorite was a hard word. I'm like, that's not the right word, but it's like choosing favorites when you have children.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that we feel deeply connected to the races that we've come from, right? Or that we've had experiences with. Although I know that I have lifetimes with a ton of races and all. And yet right now, the Lyran race is the one that I feel the most connected with in this moment because the book has been coming through.
Okay.
Right. And so, my take on that would be, and Tanys, we've talked about this before, but there are certain times where previous lifetimes will come through because we're meant to be integrating that energy into this lifetime. And so we may feel at one point in time like we have a resonance with a particular race. It's because we're integrating that energy. And then that might shift and we might then feel a resonance with another one. And then we're integrating that energy. So I don't know that there's, one way or another, but I think that we resonate deeply with the ones that were meant to be bringing that energy in.
And apparently I'm being told in chat here, but yes, Twillo is on YouTube.
Yes.
Actually, Gerald, I think simulcasted your show earlier because he was a guest / co-host on there, so you can probably find it through there, Annie.
I just added it to the chat too, so you should be able to find it on there.
Do you really have any book plans? Not at this moment, though. Apparently, somebody keeps nagging me, so
hey, no.
Stay tuned.
Well, it's meant to happen.
And then Annie Bear was asking about the Council of Ancients.
Is that like the one that you're on, Jen? Because you're on the Elders Council, I believe, right?
Yeah. So, apparently I wasn't joined in the chat. I don't know where that came from.
I'm not joined in the chat down here. I went on to YouTube.
Yeah, because we're not simulcasting, I don't know how easily you are able to do the thing.
Gotcha. I was just going to give you guys some links, but well.
Well, if you want to send them to me, Jen, I can comment after the show's over and put them in the...
You could put them in private chat or something.
Or do it that way and I can share them.
Okay, I can do that for you guys.
There you go. Just subscribed.
Thank you.
Yay.
Okay, so there's the
A little
YouTube.
parched, but I'm doing fine.
Oh, so it's your throat I'm feeling.
Fine, I'll sip, sip.
Sip, sip. It's time.
I need like a jingle, sip, sip jingle.
Sip, sip. So yeah, so that, I mean, for me, I think the races that I work with the most would be the ones that I'm resonating with the most at this moment. At this, and I say moment because really it is just a moment in time. The Pleiadian, so I have two Pleiadian, well, three that I work with, Meek and Oni, and they've been with me for a number of years now. They're quite adorable. Many people have seen them as well. And I also work with General Radon of the Pleiadian Command. So he's around here and there. And I have an Arcturian guide that I work with, and that's Rigus.
Yes,
and he helps me with a lot of the etheric surgery stuff and that kind of thing. So those guys are pretty dominant, I would say, in my pool. I do seem to have a few others. I have a Procyon, which I haven't worked very much with, but he's shown up. And the white dragons, or are you talking galactic dragons?
Like white dragon as in like the person on YouTube, or are you talking about like the actual like a dragon that is white? Because I do know there is a YouTube chatter, I think, that goes by that name also.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I know
I
there
also do have a white dragon that I work with. But...
Yeah.
Oh, the dude.
Oh, the dude. Yeah, okay. The dude. No, I don't know the dude. Don't know the dude.
I know my white dragon. I don't know him.
I know he does talk about a lot of ET stuff in the chats, but
okay.
But no, I don't know him personally other than when I see him in chat and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I did post the links for Jen's stuff in the chat there for you guys. So you can check that out.
Awesome. What she says it's her name.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what that was in comment to. I don't know if that was in comment to. Yeah, I wasn't sure what that was in connection with. So again, if you want to clarify your comment there, that'd be nice. But actually, you were talking about the Arcturians, Tanys. I think that was actually kind of my first taste of the Galactics was working with you and being brought up to the healing beds.
Yeah, they're beautiful. The Arcturian ones are like, there's so many of the Arcturians, so we tend to go to the Arcturian healing beds more than the others. All of them have their own healing beds, of course, but the Arcturians have a good amount of them, so there's more turnover, I would say, more availability.
Easier to find, easier to get a spot.
Yeah, for sure. And I just had a bunch of them come in, I think, a bunch of high vibe beings, because I was warm and I am now not. So,
well, as soon as it's funny when you talk about like being warmer than not, as soon as everybody was posting about the book, I'm like, I got cold all of a sudden in my house.
Yeah,
hey, it happens.
Much like you guys got to give me time to write it if you want me to write it.
Exactly. Exactly. We need time for these things. I have a feeling it'll just start to come in like it did with Jen, and I'll have to focus on it. It'll become a focus for a bit.
Yeah.
Thanks,
I just want to, there you go, Kaylee. Just going back really quick, because I know somebody, I think it was Annie Bear, asked about the Council of Ancients, and then I was so like trying to get this stuff typed up, and I wasn't trying to ignore. So my apologies for that. But yeah, so I don't write about this specifically in the book, but I do talk about how once the Federation was formed, we kind of split. And so Tanys Teriel takes over kind of running the Federation from a very logistical kind of standpoint. And then I go into the Elders Council, which I think is what's now being called the Council of Ancients, because that was the council that kind of oversaw how the Federation was navigating the way that it worked with other planets that were seeded, right? And so there is that kind of piece. And so the Federation had guidelines in the codex about how they were allowed to interact with new forming civilizations. And that the codex kind of, gave the rules and regulations, if you were, around what those were. But it was the Elders Council that kind of would oversee what knowledge was being given and how those kinds of things were being integrated into new civilizations. And so I think that's what you might be talking about, because when I feel into it, it resonates with what we were doing there.
I think that's maybe the connection to the name piece.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that she was given that name.
Okay.
Yeah, I see. I think also correct me if I'm wrong, Jen, my impression, I think, is that the Council of Ancients, or your Elders Council, was much more in tune and speaking to the elders, like the star elders, the ones that were in spirit as opposed to physical, right?
Yeah.
I think they were much more connected to them and really getting a lot of like solid information from the oneness and our elders that had passed, sort of thing, or ancestors is the word I'm looking for.
Yes, definitely.
Maybe you were saying this too. That they gave her the gift of sight.
Oh, beautiful.
Eye, which was bigger than a planet.
Oh, very cool.
That
sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And I think this is in regards to the book, but the way my track record was today, no promises.
And Gerald asked, did you agree? Did you just agree to write a book?
I just do what I'm told.
Me too.
Surrender enough.
Surrendering.
Right now they're having me painting light language, so I'll wait till that's done.
There you go.
Beautiful.
I know.
Give me time.
Yeah, have that on. I need that on a t-shirt. I think Tanys needs that on a t-shirt.
I think we all need that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. They don't have a good concept of time. They think that we, have unlimited down here, and sometimes that can be tiring a little bit.
Yeah, but like we go through our lifetime, and from the time we're born until the time we die, they're still kids, man. Like they barely lived their lives.
Yeah, the ones out there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One that those kind of. Yes, yeah, she needs one of those.
I do stuff.
But that's the thing about these like converging or like simultaneous timelines, because you guys have kind of found like you almost have one foot in each, and that you have that comparison of, as you said, like our lifetime really is so brief in comparison to, elsewhere. We're just a blink, really.
Yeah. That was one of the hardest things in trying to come across in the book, of like how old we were. And I'm like, yeah, we were like 250 years old. That's like, I don't know, 18. Like
it's kind of like trying to do dog years,
it doesn't there's not a direct correlation like 7 to 1. Like that just doesn't, it's not. I wish it were that simple.
It's more of a maturity sort of measure than
And I mean, I guess it's kind of like with any of the other species or anything like that. It probably depends on the race as to when you mature.
It does. They all have their own, just like we have a different one from them. Like a lot of the races have different life expectancies, So, and I think the other thing that's kind of cool about those, like for us, we chose kind of the end of our lives for the most part.
Yeah, I mean,
unless there was something with the war, right? So if we like died of old age, it was a chosen age that we decided we would leave. kind of thing.
And I was saying, and the whole war thing's a whole other show.
Oh, that's just, yeah.
Yeah, that's completely different. But it was such a different life that even trying to correlate it and use language that we have today to even explain
Right.
what it was like in that lifetime is very difficult, because we were so connected to the oneness. We had the ability to stay in that space. And with the war, it was kind of the first shaking of that knowing that caused this major dissonance within our thinking and our understanding and our belief system. And a big part of this journey is recognizing, where we came from and how we had to travel through this destructive time that really tore down everything, not just destroying worlds and lives, but having to reform, again, going back all the way to the Sekhmet energy, right?
Yeah.
Having to reform how we operated in a corporeal form, and how we wanted to integrate the loss and destruction into that understanding, and recognizing that in this form is a duality that's just not there in the oneness.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of healing that's happening around that lifetime. That's the other reason I think that it's come forward right now. I know Jen and I have both done a lot of healing on that lifetime already, and there's still more to come.
Well, and I know it's come up for you, and I even know, like, watching other channels or tuning into other channels, the Lyran stuff is also being mentioned there and being brought up there. So it's not just like, it seems to be for everybody.
Yeah, and that's part of why this book is so, like,
important for this
important right now. And I had a situation not long ago where I was called into a meeting after a whole thing, which we won't get into, but I was sitting here and I was told to see you later, Gerald.
Yeah, we don't want
lots of love to you both. And so I was sitting in this meeting with the Galactic Federation, and it was it really brought it home, I guess, that we have one foot in one life and one in the other at the same time. Because I was sitting in the meeting, I had my, like, human Tanys brain, and they were asking me questions that my Teriel brain would have required to have that knowledge to answer. And I was like, dudes, like, if you want me to do that, like, I got to have access to that other info, because, like, right now, and I was holding the energy of Teriel. I mean, I channeled Teriel the other day, you said, Jen, and it was very much her. Yeah.
Everything shifted, and I was just brought right there. And that's a whole, yeah.
I actually feel like her energy is here with me right now a little bit as well. So it was very much like, it's, I don't even know how to describe the energy. It's just really different.
Yeah.
From my human energy. And so when I feel it and it blends together, I'm like, I'm still trying to get used to that. It's channeling, basically. It feels like channeling a different being.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a different version of yourself.
We only have a couple of minutes left, but Annie mentioned about, like, Atlanteans, and I know, like, they kind of tie also in, like, the Lemurian stuff also ties into some of that.
Yeah. We were both there too, so.
Yeah, we have lifetimes in each of those. I actually have a lifetime where so the timelines are a little bit different, and I talk about it actually in the book. It's gotta get this thing out. But we talk about how Lemuria was seeded and what happened there, and all the way through the different races that had gotten seeded, and how they kind of rose and fell, and what was happening with that. And so Atlantis is one of the ones that we talk about. And I actually had a memory come through, and I think I put it in the book. Yeah, I think I put it in there. Again, it's been it started as this little thing and now it's like 400 and some pages. I don't know. Anyway, so but
and she channeled it, so she won't remember every detail, right?
Yeah, but we talked about that, and we talked about going to Atlantis when when things started to change, and there was this huge shift from really being in the spiritual foundation of their practice, and then switching to the science foundation of their practice, and how that really was their downfall and the destruction of the race as a whole. And it really did cause, I mean, so much change and destruction on the planet.
Mm-hmm. I know I had 2 lifetimes in Atlantis. One of them, I was a freedom fighter. It was my first crystal consciousness class that I was in, and we had just heard about crystals being conscious beings and everything. And then we go into a meditation, and I see myself as a man dressed all in white, and I walk into this place, and there's like this computer console thing with a big crystal in the center, and I see myself go over and grab this huge crystal and smash it on the floor. And so I came out, and I was like, and I was hearing in my head freedom fighter, but I had no idea what that meant because I was not there yet in my remembering. And so I was like, I just killed a crystal.
Oh, no.
And the teacher of the class is like, are you okay? And I'm like, I just killed a crystal in Atlantis. And he's like, oh, but I'm hearing freedom fighter. So then he described how the crystal, they used to wear these crystal crowns that were for healing, and the powers that be, right, created a method to be able to really control people through these crystal crowns. Mm-hmm. And so apparently what I was doing was breaking this crystal so that it was creating a block in that loop, so they couldn't do that. So that was the freedom fighter thing. But that was that was an interesting one. And then Jen and I were high priestesses when it was falling. I think the last time, was it the last one? The last time it fell? Because we took knowledge and stuff to Egypt in that lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that was the memory that came through, and I remember we were journeying, walking in the desert was the and we were bringing
it wasn't all that comfy.
Wisdom and stuff over. So yeah, I think that would have been that probably the most recent cycle.
Well, that's what's so interesting, as you said, like having multiple lifetimes. So I had the one that was tied to the crystal where I ended up dying. But that was when, as you said, the spirituality was kind of being left behind, and it was turning more towards the ego or, the mind, and less the spirituality piece. But then I had another lifetime where I was another, ET race, let's say, and I'm standing there, I feel like at a threshold of a ship, and there's just people, like tides of people, panicked running towards me. So like, the evacuation.
One of the evacuations.
And having both sides of that, but knowing they were different lifetimes, it's just
it's pretty wild.
I just think it's amazing that this particular lifetime we're actually able to go back and remember these things, because I don't think we've had too many lifetimes before this where we had as much remembering.
Well, an active remembering.
Yeah. So you can tell that this is a special lifetime that we're in, that there's this huge shift that's happening here on Earth. I shouldn't say, I guess that's my comment is incorrect. I think that I had many lifetimes when I was not on Earth that I was able to remember, but on Earth, it's a different density. And I don't think I've had this much memory in an Earth lifetime to this point. So it's been, it's an interesting one.
Yeah. What feels new to me in relation to that is that we're meant to walk in both times.
Yeah.
This time, which I don't remember ever feeling before.
Yeah. That was very clear when I was trying to do this like back and forth thing in the meeting.
That ties into Annie's comment of there's so many of them here helping now. Like even if we don't necessarily see them all the time, doesn't mean that they're not here.
Well, that's like the just like the rest of our guides, right? They can be in a higher frequency. And so they can be all around us and us not see them if they're not in our visual range. There's all sorts of things that are not in our visual range that we just don't see because it's not the usual, right? So the more we can raise our vibration, which is happening with the high Schumann and all that, the more we can start to tap into some of those things that are just outside our usual visual and auditory ranges and stuff. So
Well, we're past the hour mark, ladies. So I want to say
it did.
I want to say thank you. We'll definitely have you back for more chat, of course. But before I log off here, guys, just a reminder, in 2 weeks' time is 1 year anniversary special. I have a couple special guests coming on and to hang out with us. So just subscribe and like and follow, and you'll have to come and see who's going to be on. And then we have another show on May 12th and then May 26th. So I hope you guys will come and hang out for those. If you haven't already, like and subscribe, and that way you don't miss it. And subscribe to these ladies too if you haven't already, because their channels are amazing. They're constantly doing such cool, interesting stuff. So
thank you.
Do you guys have anything coming up this week at all that you wanted to speak on?
Yeah, we have the support group this weekend with Beyond Being Human. So come and have a talk with us. It's actually not live. It is actually a Zoom-based support group.
It's great, guys. I've been to a couple of them. They're so nice. And all you have to do is go, even just search Beyond Being Human support group, and the page pops up. So come hang out with us on Saturday.
Yeah, come join us. And then Jen's on Gerald's show. Right, Jen?
Yeah, right.
Ooh, yes. Yeah. So on Monday at 2 Eastern, so however that breaks down for you wherever you are, I'm going to be on a Laugh and Learn with Tarot Stash, and we've been talking everything and anything human design. So we're going to be doing the last 2 environments.
Ooh, exciting!
Yeah, and we are scheduled to have some special guests on Tool Talk on Monday, I believe. Right?
Are we?
Because it's Easter Monday.
Right.
21st.
I believe you. Oh, right.
We are supposed to we have our off-gas masters scheduled to join us.
That sounds exciting.
So come and check that out on Monday at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
We're still in the process of confirming all of that. So, I don't want to disappoint you if something happens, because, it's live and stuff happens.
And the confirmation and all that. But that's the game.
That is the plan. We've spoken to them about it. So.
And Annie says, thanks, Kaylee, Jennifer, and Tanys. And everybody have a great night. I'll see you in 2 weeks. These ladies might see you virtually before then. And we'll see you all real soon. Bye.
Bye.